time at Jet, what was the most memorable project that you worked on?
Well, I think it's the accumulation of all the evaluations that we did and that other people were doing, young researchers based in universities, in what became the President's Education Initiative. This was former President Mandela put up money and asked the Department of Basic Education, who then invited JET, to look at the President's Education Initiative. And we looked at the evaluations or the research into 32 projects, and that then became the book, Getting Learning Right. That really stands out in my mind as a wonderful collaborative project between universities, NGOs, government and JET.
A number of previous jet setters, like yourself, have been able to move into important policy-making, decision-making, leadership positions within government. How was JET able to prepare you for this move?
I think it is extraordinary how many jet setters moved into government and into other leadership positions. It says something about the training that we received, and I give a lot of credit there to having the privilege of sitting in on board meetings and of our chairman, Mr. Rosholt, Professor Manganyi and Nick Taylor. I think that they did two things. They gave us a strong frame in which we were to work. We were expected to make sure that the precious donor funding was put into places which would make the most difference. But we were also expected to write up, to document and to evaluate the impact of these projects. So I think that when you have that sharp focus, it gives you a huge advantage. And then of course, not only was there a strong framework, but there was a trust in us that allowed us to try things out. But I think that opportunity also meant that we had to come to grips with the way government worked, what it meant to be leaders in education.
What should JET focus its efforts on in the next 25 years?
I think that there's going to be enormous pressure on education departments as budgets shrink. I think that JET's continued work in showing what makes a difference, especially in the early years, that will be key, because we really are failing our children. We still, as Nick Taylor once famously said, falling at the first hurdle. Many of our children are falling at the first hurdle. In the Western Cape, they're only stumbling at the first hurdle now because so much emphasis has been put on reading and writing in the first couple of years. But I think that if JET can continue to look at what makes a difference, but whether it's through projects or research and evaluation, I think that they can make an enormous contribution to government and to the general public, even parents. I think that perhaps one piece of advice would be to get out to more parents, into the public, what really makes a difference in those first 3 years of a child's school.
Okay, then to end off, think of one word, one phrase that describes JET for you.
Inspiring.